as I was walking, just something didn't feel right. And I noticed the car was sort of out of place. And I remember looking, and he looked, and we locked eyes for a second. And then he just looked away. And I would later find out that that would be the man that would come the next day at 5 o'clock, ring our doorbell, and take my only child. He went down to the desk and paid for 3 more nights. And I remember saying to the agent, why do you think he did that? And he looked at me stone cold and he said, ma'am, he was going to kill you and stay long enough to get the job done.
Everything about that interview is with me every day that I sit in this chair. That was, of course, U.S. District Judge Esther Salas. It's our conversation on this program last year. The unimaginable tragedy of her son's murder in 2020 at the hands of an aggrieved former lawyer. 4 years later, Judge Salas is back speaking out today at a moment when the presumptive nominee of one of the 2 major political parties in our country is targeting another child of another judge in one of his cases. It's a pattern for Donald Trump, one that he's ramped up pretty dramatically since leaving the White House amid dozens of lawsuits and a cascade of litigation he faces. During which time, Reuters is reporting serious threats against federal judges alone, more than doubling. Joining us now, U.S. District Court Judge for the District of New Jersey, Esther Salas is back. Thank you for coming back.
Thank you for having me back, Nicole.
I think about you all the time because we say the rule of law like it's a thing. It's people. We say, extremist rhetoric like it doesn't incite other people. And we talk about this collision like it's abstract. It's very real. I mean, rhetoric and violence and anger from your son's murderer collided with real people when he came to your house and killed your son.
Yeah. I mean, I think that for me, since Daniel's murder, I've been shocked at the language, the reckless language that both, leaders from both sides of the aisle have used at certain points in time. And I think that we need to be more cognizant of the words that we use to speak of judges and the justice system. And for me, if I had a wish, I wish that people would realize that words matter, conduct matters, and that people are really looking to them to be role models. And we need to be impeccable with our word. We need to show, listen, I know all my brothers and sisters on the bench, 50% of the time, you're not going to agree with our opinions and our rulings, and that's okay.
Yeah, maybe more than that, right?
Yeah,
if you're on the other side,
absolutely. But all that we ask is then use the system to appeal our rulings, stick to the merits of our rulings, and try not to personalize it, because children are watching. Children are guided by what we as adults do, and I think we lose a certain civility when we go low. And so for me, I just am mindful to both political parties, independents, to any leaders or people in the spotlight to think about what they say and how they treat other people. Let's agree to disagree. We've become so inflexible. I feel sometimes like we're ready to break. And so for me, that's why Mark and we stay active in trying to, encourage states across this country to enact offensive laws, laws that are going to, and by offensive, we're going to play offensively, right? And shield our personally identifiable information and protect the 30,000 plus state judges, state and local judges that serve their states proudly. Let's start protecting all judges.
You're talking about the discontent that happens inside a courtroom, right? When in every trial, one side wins and one side loses. What happens when on top of that, gasoline is poured by one of the 2 major political parties?
I think that we need to remember Daniel. I think we need to remember Judge Wilkinson from Maryland, who lost his life in October of last year. I think we need to remember Judge Romer in Wisconsin, who lost his life in 2022, when a man he had sentenced 15 years earlier came to his home, and assassinated him. There are real present dangers that exist in this world. And we have to be mindful that no matter who we are representing, right, we're representing America. Mm-hmm. We're representing the Constitution. We're representing the rule of law. And you know, I think when we can be mindful of those individuals that have paid the price, the ultimate price,
right,
that we can realize there's so much at stake.
Right.
You know?
What would you imagine it's like for Judge Merchan to see his daughter attacked all over social media?
You know, I think that as a sitting judge, I want to be very careful not to talk about an active case.
Okay.
But I can tell you what it's like for me, and you know, and what it's been like. Yesterday was Easter. Mm-hmm. I had to celebrate it without my son. Mm. You know, and so I say, you know, I can't imagine what goes through any parent's head when you think that something you did, the job that you chose,
right,
cost the life of my only child. And that's a reality I have to live with. And I'm, you know, I do my best to remember that Daniel was so proud of his mom. And I do my best to remember that I am doing my son justice by continuing to advocate for better security. We have made progress, I want to say,
Daniel's
since the last
yeah.
Since the last time we talked to you, 16 states have enacted laws that are shielding more than 3 pieces of, you know, aspects of the personally identifiable information. 19 other states have enacted laws not shielding as much, but it's a start.
Right.
We've got, you know, 6 states with pending legislation, Maryland and New York. We're really optimistic about that. And we have 13 states and territories that we have work to do. But we're making progress, and that's the thing. That's what I want to encourage you and everyone watching, that, you know what, light will overcome darkness. Positivity, if we stay positive, if we are mindful of the way we treat each other, I believe it's contagious. I believe that we can do things to make this place a better place to live.
Do you still believe, I feel like I know what you're going to say, do you still believe in the rule of law?
I do.
Do you think it's in danger right now?
You know, I worry about it. I'm not going to lie to you. I worry about democracy. I worry that if we allow these threats to go unchallenged, if we don't work together, but there are laws, bipartisan laws pending now. We are seeing our leaders work together. By the numbers I just shared with you, we're seeing state legislatures working together. It works. There's no greater country. And, you know, I always say this. I'm the proud daughter of Cuban-Mexican parents. Yeah. Only in America, right? So for me, I do believe it. I do believe in the rule of law. And I do believe that we need to protect it and we need to guard it. And we need to remind each other constantly what's at stake. But I also think that we need to have faith.
Hey everyone, MSNBC has a new and improved app. You'll get real-time alerts and analysis, live blogs, in-depth essays, video highlights, and the best 2024 election coverage. Download the new MSNBC app. Here's how to do it. You tap on the App Store on your phone. You hit search on the bottom right corner. You type in MSNBC. You click on the MSNBC app. You click on Get or the cloud icon and enjoy it.